The reason you can't seem to win games right now in Madden 26 is you don't know enough secret tricks that only the top 1% of players have mastered. Well, luckily for you, in this video, I'm breaking down 5 secret Madden 26 tricks that if you actually implement them, you're going to see your win rate increase by over 96%. You're not going to miss out on any of these tricks, so let's jump right into it. Alright, first I want to show you a glitch route that's going to allow you to score one-play touchdowns over the top. Let me introduce you to the slot fade. Alright, so we're going to take Calvin Austin right here, and we're going to put him on a slot fade. So, and this doesn't matter what formation you're calling this from. Alright, now, here's the key. You always want to make sure with this, you're behind the 50-yard line, because this is going to be a long pass and a lot of air yards, alright? So you're going to put him on a slot fade. This is best against press man-to-man coverage like you see right here, alright? So slot fade Calvin Austin, then you're going to smart route him, alright? You have to smart route him, so now the slot fade looks like this, and once you smart route him, that unlocks the ability to custom stem him, and you're going to custom stem him up one time by pressing the D-pad or holding LB and then pressing the D-pad up. Alright, so now essentially his route's going to look like this, and when they run press man-to-man coverage, this route is going to do a great job of just getting over the top and behind the DB. Now, your quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, or whoever you have, needs to actually be able to put that ball out in front of him. And obviously, you know, having a really fast receiver, or if they have like a slower corner, is going to make this even better. But you just see how he's running behind him. He's behind this guy. I think these guys are actually the same speed, and he's behind him. And so that gives you an opportunity to lob that pass over the top for a huge gain, right? And again, it just, this ball is significantly underthrown, or really by a few yards underthrown, and so that's why it gets knocked away. But we try it again. This is really great. I mean, it doesn't really matter if they shade inside or they shade outside. I mean, you're going to bend the route off outside anyway, so it's going to help you if they're inside shaded. But we're going to take the snap right here. You're going to watch how he's just going to be able to bend that route off, get over the top, and you just see how far behind he is. Again, that time Aaron Rodgers sails the pass. Aaron Rodgers needs to retire. He's not really getting the job done. I probably should turn perfect pass accuracy on when I do these practice mode videos. But like, this route is fantastic. Again, just at getting behind these DBs. A regular Shriek would never be able to do this, right? There's not really any route in this game that can actually just get behind DBs at this rate. That time right there, I think he put it on the money, and yeah, we're able to bring the pass in, all right? So again, just a quick demonstration of how dangerous the slot fade can be. It's really just a route that you want to add to your man-beating plays. It's not something that you solely like want to rely on, but like, this is just easy. Right, this is just easy because the quarterback is able to, you know, get the pass out in front of this receiver. He's easily able to get behind a DB when they're the same speed, and so it really just comes down to the route being good. You're able to get that ball out in front and catch the ball in stride. So again, you want to build a route concept around the slot fade, right? So again, you're going to smart route, then you're going to custom stem, right? So again, if I was, you know, to play this, you know, in a live action game, right, you might want to put your tight end on a post, and then maybe, yeah, call something like this, where you have 2 slot fades on the field, really, and then you just have a slant and a post, and then you're able to look for the slot fade, and if it's not open, then you progress to your other reads. But start incorporating more slot fades into your offense against press man-to-man coverage for easy gains down the field. Alright, next, I want to show you the best settings in Madden 26 on both sides of the ball. Settings are one of the most important things that a lot of players overlook, so you're not going to skip out on this one. Alright, so when we talk about the best settings, first we're going to start on offense. Alright, so we're going to turn auto pass protection, make sure this is on base. Alright, I talk about this, you know, in some of my videos, but if you call a play, I don't know, some plays do this worse than others, but some plays that you call right now have built-in pass protection by EA. So they're going to automatically full slide your line or half slide your line in a certain direction, which you might think isn't a problem. But the real problem gets created because some people will randomly, or sometimes they'll time it up, where they'll shift their line, they'll blitz, you know, 2 players off of that side, and then like now they're blitzing 5 people off of the right side and only 1 off of the left. But the problem is your line is shifting to the left, right? And so right now, even if you block the running back, I would assume someone would just come in free, because again, that's just a 6 on a 6 but you're still sliding the wrong direction. And so really, you're not doing that. Actually, I don't even know why I'm saying you're doing that. The game's doing it for you. You see how you double team this man off of this side right here, and then that just allows for this slot corner to come in free, which is a huge problem. You want to give yourself the most adequate pass protection that you can, and the best way to do that is to use base protection on every play, again, in your settings. Now, if they call like a similar blitz, where this time they come off the left side, right, and so they're going to blitz 5 people off the left, they're only going to blitz 1 on the right, well, now we're in base protection, right? And so really, if I knew that they were blitzing off the left side, I would take control and half slide my line to the left, right? And now we're going to be fine because we're sliding to the side that they're blitzing to, which is going to work out for us. But honestly, even if you don't expect them to, blitz, you're still a lot of the time able to have time to throw just because you're actually using the right setting. You're using base protection, you're blocking your running back. Now you have enough time to where that blitz isn't going to walk in free, and instead you're going to be able to kind of maneuver around in the pocket before you eventually find someone open. I'm not saying if they blitz you, you're still going to have to get rid of the ball. Base protection is not going to solve that issue entirely, but it's going to make sure that they're not letting guys just walk in free, completely for no reason. All right, but next I'm going to show you the most important defensive settings. All right, and those are going to be making sure you turn auto flip defensive play on, right? You want to make sure that your slot corner is able to kind of align on the right side of the slot receiver. So if they have their slot receiver on the right, this is going to always make sure that your slot corner's on the right. Again, if you turn this off, you can flip your play, which allows you to control which side you're blitzing your slot corner off of if you're running a slot corner blitz. That's about the only time that I would turn it off. I would say I have it on like 95% of the game. Only certain defenses where I turn it off, right? Quarterback matchups, another thing where you don't want your defense to crisscross when the offense no huddles, so make sure you have this on balance. Defensive motion response, disabled is the right one to go to. You don't want your zone coverage defenders like cloud flats to follow receivers when people call bunch nasty auto motion wheels, right? Make sure this is on disabled. Option, keys and RPO keys. You want to understand what you want to do with your user, right? So if you want to, I like to use aggressive. If you want to focus on the quarterback, and you let your AI focus on the pitch and dive, which is what I like to do because the quarterback is normally closer to my user by default. So I just go get the quarterback, you guys go get the dive, and we're good. So aggressive. And then with the pass key, I want to let the run be open so that I can just loop around and shoot the gap with my user. Let the AI focus on pass coverage with these RPOs. That's why I use conservative, right? Flats, curl flats, hooks. All right, you want to make sure that these kind of change throughout the game. You want to make sure you're mixing these up. If you're going to be running match coverage, make sure you have all of these on default. But for the most part, set them and forget them. Default 5, default will do. Close and pinch for safety depth and safety width is exactly where you want to be because, as we know, people love to throw their seam passes, but just look at this defensive alignment. There's no way they're throwing the ball up the seam. They can try the slot receiver. They could try the tight end. Our safeties are simply, they're right there to make that play. Shout out to EA for making terrible zones in this game. But, they're not going to be able to throw up the seam on any consistent basis. There's just way too much we're just way too close. There's no airspace for them to be able to throw those passes, and so again, you're also not going to get beat over the top. Like if they try to lob that pass, just because your safeties are close to the line of scrimmage doesn't mean that they can't get back and recover in coverage very well. So again, just make sure that you're using safety depth with close safety width on pinch with all the other offensive and defensive settings that I just broke down, and you're going to start winning more games just because you have the right settings equipped. All right, if you enjoyed those first 2 secret tips to dominate here in Madden 26, again, I encourage you to go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down Madden 26 tips and tricks every single day, and you're not going to miss out on any of the content that I release. But if you want this entire video in written form so you never lose access to it in your next game, go to the link down below the pinned comment, join Madden University, where again, I'm giving you entire written breakdowns of all my tips so that you can save them on their phone. And the best part is you get your first month for only $1. Please, don't let $1 be the reason you're still struggling to win games in Madden 26 when I'm trying my best to help you out. go check it out at the link in the pinned comment, and let's jump right back into it. All right, the next thing that I want to show you is how to turn your man coverage lockdown. I know a lot of you guys like running man, but if you don't have the right corners, you're going to be screwed until you start using this secret hack. All right, so it really doesn't matter what formation we come out in. All right, we're going to come into cover one robber from nickel 2-4. All right, so here's the thing. We look at Calvin Austin right here. The Jamel Dean is lined up over him, right? We understand that he has outside leverage. So if Calvin Austin runs a corner out right here, like, we're gonna be able to guard this. Like, this isn't really gonna be a problem for us. I would, be shocked if he got open, which, yes, that's easy defense. He's running the route for the receiver. He's shaded outside, right? And he's running a outside breaking route. That makes sense. But then what if we put Calvin Austin on an in route now, all right? So we put Calvin Austin on an in route. We remove the extra man that's, in the middle of the field now. All right, so we're going to put him on an in route. He's running an in breaking route. He has outside leverage, and as you would probably expect, Calvin Austin's able to get open down the field, and he would be able to walk in for an easy touchdown, right? So it's like, if that's the problem you're probably having, you run man coverage, but they just go to the opposite side that you're shaded, because if you shaded inside, now they have a chance to get that corner route open. I would always recommend you shade inside instead of outside, just because it's a little bit harder to get a corner route open versus an in route, especially if they have the wrong leverage. But here's the trick that I want to show you, because you can still shade, you can shade inside to be able to stop those in routes, but now what you're going to do is you're going to start using the route commit, all right? So you're going to press Y, then you're going to press A, you're going to click onto the receiver, which in this case is going to be the B receiver, all right, Calvin Austin, and you're going to route commit outside by flicking the left stick to the right, all right? So we're gonna route commit outside now. What this is essentially telling your DB is, hey, we think they're running a corner route or an outside breaking route. Make sure you're sitting on that. It's kind of similar to how the run commit works, where we're telling our AI, hey, we know they're running, just play run defense. This is basically telling him, hey, we're running outside, or he's running outside, so just on the outside breaking route. And you're able to see that's exactly what he does. He's literally just running the route for the receiver, and it's an easy knockout. And that's going to happen time and time again. And here's the thing that a lot of people do. The reason why this is so powerful is because what people will do on defense, smart defensive players, is they'll shade inside to basically trick you into running an outside breaking route as an offense. Because if I see this, now I know you're shaded inside, I want to take my chances on a corner route or an outside breaking route. Well, then they route commit outside. So essentially you're never going to get open, because you're not calling it inside breaking route if I'm shaded inside, right? But here's the thing. What makes this actually so good is the fact that if they run an in breaking route, you're still sitting on that, right? So right here, we're just going to have them run an in route. We're still going to route commit outside, though, because you want to shade inside and then route commit outside like every play. All right, so you're going to see how Calvin Austin stemmed up a little bit. He's going to be running this 10-yard or maybe 15-yard dig route, all right? And you're going to see how he's going to do a good job of really sticking with that route. Now, not only did we have an extra man there, now, certainly this isn't going to be as good as if he ran a corner route, right? You're route committing in the wrong direction, so you can't ask for sticky man coverage, but you also have a 3-rec. And so by the time they can really even throw this pass, I believe the quarterback's already sacked. Yeah, the quarterback's already sacked, because not only do you have a 3-rec hook, which sometimes you don't have a 3-rec hook, but like Jamel Dean's still recovering well. You see how he kind of gets beat because he's expecting a corner out, but then he's able to recover with this route as it runs across the field, and we still are able to get that quick pressure there on the quarterback. So it's like when they run those corner routes, obviously, you're going to be sitting on them because you're route committed outside while you're shaded inside. You're tricking the offense into doing exactly what you want. But when they, for some reason, would call an in-breaking route when you're route committed, call an in-breaking route when you're shaded inside, which doesn't really happen too often. But if they do, you're still going to get your butt covered pretty well because of how good the route commit is. So that's how I would recommend you guys play man coverage, is start using the route commit feature by shading inside and route committing outside. All right, the next secret that you need to understand is the best offensive playbook that you should be using. Let me introduce you into the Pittsburgh Steelers offense and what makes it so dangerous. Alright, so this play that I'm coming out in right here is shot fade cross, right? Anytime you're playing offense, you need a play to be able to take the top off the defense, and this is one play and one playbook that not a lot of people, it's kind of actually gaining popularity, but not a lot of people still use it, alright? Not enough people, because if we call the route concept like this, again, from shot fade cross, you're going to see how when we take the snap, because of the nature of this play, you're just going to have that pass wide open down the sideline, right? Especially against cover 2 defenses. Why is that going to be the case? Because when you call this play to the wide side, you have Y running this shriek, which is going to occupy this deep half safety and hold him in the middle of the field, or at least in the middle of the field enough to where you can just pass lead this ball towards the sideline to that slot fade and just be able to bring that pass in. So the first tip of this video was how good slot fades are against man coverage, but even when they run zone, you see how dangerous they are. Again, you want to give yourself a check down to free move right here in case you get shedded quickly or you don't have time to throw, Thielen, or maybe they switch stick onto it. But for the most part, it's like this is a super dangerous route. That's one of the best safeties in the game, Winfield Jr., and you see how he's going to have no chance because it's just zone logic, right? You run over the flat, you hold the safety inside, and so that's just how great the route concept is. But even when they run cover 3, this is still going to be very dangerous because now what we're going to do is actually we're going to flip it to the short side now. Because when they run cover 3, you want to make sure that you're running your fade to the short side of the field. But the same thing, where you have Freiermuth on the drag, you have Thielen on that crosser, but you're just going to see how now that streak's going to hold the outside third in the middle of the field and allow you to just pass lead that fade, on the sideline. So again, we look at the instant replay, same thing, Calvin Austin, DK Metcalf's just going to hold this Jamel Dean defender inside, and so then we're just going to use freeform passing, which did I tell you about that earlier? No, I didn't actually, but yeah, I have talked about that in a lot of videos. We're going to use freeform passing to just hit that pass on the sideline. Very, very easy for you, all right? So cover 2, cover 3, but you're going to say, Bill T, what about against man coverage? Slot fade, shot fade cross still dominates man coverage because now you don't want to put a shriek on the field. Just leave the route concept like this, but put Freiermuth on a drag. Because now you have 3, or I didn't even put them in man coverage there, but you see how even against zone coverage, that drag is pretty reliable option. Unless they have hard flats on the field, it's not going to be easy for them to actually be able to contain drags, all right? So right here, they're going to be in man coverage, and that's kind of what I'm talking about where you need to hit your drag, right? That time those receivers bumped into each other, which is really goofy. It kind of makes the play pretty annoying, but take the snap again, and you're just going to see how DK Metcalf, that's why you leave him on that route instead of putting him in a shriek. So just super, super dangerous, route concept here. We go through it one last time. This is another everything beater. If you guys watch my videos, I talk about everything beaters all the time because it really doesn't matter the coverage that they run. You're going to call this play, whether you want to call the first version against zone or that version against man, but you're going to be able to pick up big yards and score big touchdowns all over the field. But the game is won and lost inside the 20, so let me show you the best red zone play from this Steelers playbook. All right, so we're going to come into gun trips X nasty. We're going to come into quick fork zig, all right? This is going to be our play. We're going to put RB on a flat. We're going to put our tight end on a slant. And again, this is another play that you don't really need to worry about what defense they're in. This is honestly best against cover 3 defenses, which is what I will put them in here just for the sake of showing you, because I want to show you the logic and why this works. I honestly need to call this play more when I'm playing because not enough people have seen this before, all right? So we're going to take Thielen. He's going to basically stop, and then he's going to run his slant inside. Again, this is a play that the top 1% know about, but everyone needs to know about it because it's so dangerous in the red zone. What happens here? This is a crow flat defender. He immediately gets pushed outside by this flat route, and then that's, as soon as he breaks outside, that's when Thielen runs inside, to just fill that gap and score easy touchdowns, all right? So it's very dangerous against, zone coverage, particularly cover 3. So again, with this play, all you have to do, make the read, all right? If they're in cover 2 or cover 3, you're looking to Thielen. If they run man, you're looking to Metcalf. This looks like more zone coverage, and so yes, it's the same thing where you're just going to be able to throw that pass, and you're going to be able to, score touchdowns or get certainly close to them. Again, if they run man, be ready to look to your slant on the backside, which again right here, I just kind of missed every read, but I'm going to use the playmaker here, and that's an absolute laser BLT. I mean, you just got to salvage plays, man. You got to just make some stuff happen sometimes. I honestly had a bunch of people open on that play, and I kind of just got antsy and missed the read, but that's cover 2. And when it's cover 2, here's a key, and I want to break this down when they're in cover 2 with this play. You have to free-form pass lead this ball away from this vert hook. And what I mean by that is, okay, same zone logic, you push this cloud flat zone outside, but now there's a vert hook standing right here. So if you were to free-form pass lead this ball inside like we were doing before, it would have been intercepted. But I passed this ball behind Thielen to basically get him to turn around, and I possession catch this ball so that this slot corner has no chance of making this play before I just fall into the end zone for a touchdown. So it really just comes down to practice with this play. We'll go ahead and call it one last time right here. Just go ahead and put them in man coverage so you can see this. But DK Metcalf on this zig route is going to do a great job. Put your best receiver there, sure-handed guy, pretty reliable pass catcher, and you're going to be able to score some easy touchdowns. So this Steelers playbook, a secret one that's kind of catching on a little bit, but not enough people know about it because it has great bombs and it has great red zone plays when the game gets tight. Alright, before I jump into that final secret, I wanted to remind you to go down below and hit that subscribe button. I break down tips and tricks just like this every single day on Madden 26. You're not going to miss out on any of the content I have for you this year and in the future. Let's jump right back into it. Alright, that 5th and final secret trick that I want to show you is how top 1% of players get their defense set up at lightning speed. Let me introduce you to how to quick adjust on defense. Alright, so it really doesn't matter what defensive formation, what play, what playbook, what the offense is in. None of it matters here with quick adjustments, alright? So a couple things you need to understand. When you're in man coverage, there's a lot less adjustments that need to be made. That's why lower skilled players love man coverage, because they don't have to make any adjustments on defense. But when you actually need to make adjustments on defense is when you're in zone coverage, right? For example, if they're in a bunch formation, right, they can call a play like verticals and attack us down the sideline. So maybe when I'm playing against bunch formations, I want to run cover 3 on that bunch side. So what I would do is I would just set it up just like this. You see how fast that was. And that's where the quick adjustments come in. Because if you rewind, I stayed on Dennis, my user number 0 in the middle, the entire time. Probably what you're doing is clicking onto this man, pressing A, putting him in an inside third. Clicking onto this man, pressing A, putting him in a outside third. But here's the problem. What if you miss? What if you accidentally get clicked onto all these other guys as you're trying to get onto your slot corner now, right? That's probably the problem that you're having when you're making these adjustments, all right? And the simple solution is mastering quick adjustments. So BLT, how do I go about doing that? My adjustments aren't that fast. So what you need to practice is position groups, understanding that if you press Y twice, that's going to open the secondary. So X, Y, L, B, A, and B. Then you can click onto them and put each man in whatever assignment you want. All right. If you press D-pad right twice, that's going to open the linebacker adjustments. So a lot of time you're going to have 1 to 3 linebackers on the field, and here in this formation we have 2, and so then we can choose X and A and put them in different zones. All right. Then you're going to see if you press D-pad left twice, that's going to open your D line adjustments. So X, Y, A, and B, right? And so again, you can adjust these guys, put them in whatever zone or whatever assignment you want. All right, and so really that's all it is. Muscle memory, Y twice opens these adjustments, D-pad right twice opens these adjustments, and D-pad left twice opens these adjustments. All right, and so really all you have to do is just get in practice mode and start chaining the adjustments together. Whatever adjustments you know that you want to make very often, that's what you practice doing. All right, so for me, I like to put my slot corners in outside thirds, hard flats, and cloud flats. So I really need to, and custom zones. So I really just need to practice with the left stick and those 3 kind of adjustments, and then the left bumper as well, right? And so again, with my safeties, I like to put them in inside thirds, deep halves, maybe hook curls. And so again, I just practice with those. And so really that's all it is, getting in practice mode, trying to set up different defenses. So you see we reset our play. Now I put all these guys in these zones, and then you're able to see we have a cloud flat. We're just doing a whole bunch right here, all right? So you can really do whatever you want with your quick adjustments. But honestly, I would say that's a pretty good breakdown of quick adjustments. practice how you do them, they allow you to make adjustments from one central player, which is going to make it faster for you to make adjustments. And then you just need to practice Y twice as secondary, D-pad right twice as the linebackers, and D-pad left twice as the defensive line. So get in practice mode, start practicing your quick adjustments, and your defense is going to become way better overnight. Alright, if you enjoyed that breakdown of 5 secret tricks to help you dominate here in Madden 26, I again encourage you to go down below in the link in the pinned comment, grab my written tactical breakdowns where you're going to get your first month for only $1. Please, don't let $1 be the reason you're still struggling to win games here in Madden 26. Learn from an expert who knows everything, and you're going to be able to save all these tips and adjustments that I just broke down in this video on your phone. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.